Okay, so we are back. And we are going to be talking today about, I guess to some you could say a particularly fun thing to talk about. For some, it's kind of be a stressful issue to talk about. But we're going to be talking about Adventure O2.
Before we start on this, can I just say something?
Hmm.
Can we not mention the ending?
We have to mention the
No,
ending.
the
That
ending has
that's
been
that's
done to
not
death.
being fair to all the people in the future who will be pissed or not understand it. We have to give our thoughts on it. We have to talk about it a little bit.
The ending
We
overshadows everything else in the series.
we won't go too crazy about the ending because there are plenty of people who go crazy about the ending on many videos and forums and things about that.
Yeah.
That when they love Digimon, so we don't have to do that, but we still should talk about the ending a little bit, especially because of Try Now.
Yeah,
We really
yes.
should. We really should. Um, but let us start off with saying our general thoughts about O2 as a whole because it's so kind of broken. We can't really easily break it up into parts. I mean, there are obviously
No,
sections of
I
it,
can
but
break it up into parts pretty easily.
mm,
There's the
well,
Ken arc, the Aokennumon and Mummimon arc, the Oikawa arc, and then the demon stuff sprinkled in the middle.
sprinkled in the middle, just sprinkled in between everything.
Yeah.
But let's just start with you on your general thoughts of O2.
Um, Well, my thoughts on O2, they range from there are some parts that I actually think it does better than Adventure 1. And then there are some parts that are just so shockingly bad. Like, wow, I can't believe it. So, I think I can't really give an opinion on the series as a whole, but I can talk about the individual parts and the characters and things like that.
Well, okay. How about this? Can we? At least we can both say, and again, it's really again. This is why it's kind of dividing a lot between people's because of the parts themselves.
Yeah.
But as a whole, we will say it is definitely below average on
Yes, it's
the
below
Digimon
average
series.
by Digimon standards.
Yeah. Um. So what about how? Let's see. You start off with the first chunk
Well,
of the
the first
show.
chunk, even the very first episode, is so the story is it's 3 years later from Adventure, and no one has been to the digital world since the end of Adventure 1. But Tai is in the digital world, and
But
it's never
we
explained how.
but we don't know when he was able to go back. When they say it hasn't been 3 years, maybe they didn't really include 2 months ago, kind of
Mm.
thing. It's a little something where you could explain it, but they should have definitely explained it better because there are issues with that one part. Anyways, with that one part.
And so Tai finds a thing called a Digimental in the digital world, and he touches it, and some Digivices come out of it, and they go to people in the human world who Kosho is talking to. And in the digital world, meanwhile, there's like these evil rings coming and mind controlling all the Digimon, which is totally not a thing they already did in the first series, but
Oh,
with these instead.
no, yeah, totally. Like, well,
It's a
if anything,
complete
the gears were a little bit better. I mean, you see them buried into their like flesh and skin and shit. That's
it's
actually
an
kind of
original
cool.
idea. So anyway, we find out that there was this person in the digital world called the Digimon Kaiser, and he's got a dark Digivice that can mind control Digimon, and he's erecting these dark towers to transmit the signal of his Digivice. And he is a human, and there's a person in the human world who he obviously is, but no one can see through his disguise. And so the first 20 or so episodes.
They have that weird superhero cliche where putting on some glasses and a
Yeah.
cape makes you completely fucking a new person.
Mhm. The first 20 or so episodes are the new characters trying to defeat the Digimon Kaiser. Now, the new characters are we have Hikari and Taku from the last series, and they haven't changed that much, but they're a bit
They
older
got
now.
taller. They got taller.
Taku's still annoying, and Hikari's still a Mary Sue. And then we've got three new characters. We've got Daisuke, Iori, and Miyako, and they're new Digimon.
Hmm.
And here's the thing: the Dark Towers are blocking the power of evolution just because.
Normal
So
evolution.
yeah, normal evolution. So they need to use these things called Digimentals to evolve their Digimon, which, Digi Elemental, whatever. But the thing is, in the old series where they had to like have a certain level of emotional maturity or stability or learn something
Hmm.
to evolve the Digimon, that's no longer a thing. They just evolve with the push of a button. But
Yeah, it was
they do
the
have
development
branching.
was pretty rushed.
Yeah, they do have branching evolutions now, which is a thing. But eh. So they were basically just saving Digimon, toppling Dark Towers, getting closer to Ken, and finding new Digimentals.
Well, we don't know he's Ken yet. We don't know he's Ken yet.
We
Spoilers.
know he's Ken.
Spoilers. Spoilers.
We know
Well,
he's Ken. We
I
found out
know.
like
I
the fourth
know.
episode.
Well, yeah, but they don't know that. Like
We
the
know.
Digidestin didn't know that.
They didn't even try to hide it.
No, they didn't. Well, I mean, it was pretty obvious when they just. It was like in the third episode where they just show his face, like, "Oh, look at this genius kid,"
And then
like on
he
the
kicks a
TV.
puppy.
Oh yeah, he kicks a. God damn it, Ken. But they don't know he's Digimon Kaiser yet. That doesn't happen for a good while.
Yeah. Something I need to talk about while we're here, by the way, in the first arc is episode 13. Now, if you remember episode 13 in the first series, it was the one where they fought Devimon. And,
Mm-hmm.
that was a good episode. So, I bet the guys thought, hey, we should do something special for 13 in this one. So what they did was Hikari was sucked into a dimension that wasn't the digital world, the dark ocean, and then
Oh, are you gonna really go there with the
I
Dark
think we
Ocean
have to.
thing?
I think we have to.
Mm.
And then there was Dagomon, which was, I'm not saying it was Cthulhu, but it was Cthulhu. And then,
For kids.
yeah, okay. And then once she got out of the Dark Ocean, it was never really mentioned again until way later. I mean, I see that they were kind of trying to go somewhere with it, but Kenimon and Momimon took precedence. So, what do you think of the first arc?
I will. I thought it was okay. It wasn't particularly bad. The one bad thing, like you said, was that they kind of made the Bond thing kind of rushed or kind of null to Digivolve. But I mean that's kind of fixed a little later. With some of their adventures that, you know, each individual kind of went on with their Digimon.
Mm-hmm.
But I really don't like people pointing out the Dark Ocean thing because it's probably one of the worst issues that
If
that O2 really has.
well, I was gonna say if the Dark Ocean thing, if they would have done it in episode 13 and then never mentioned it again, I wouldn't. I would be fine with that. It's just whatever. But the fact that they tried to make it such a thing, it was like it's like two writers engaged in a tug of war. One was pulling to the side of the Dark Ocean, and one was pulling to the side of Arakenimon and Momimon and stuff, and it was just a mess.
Yeah.
Like there are some good ideas with the Dark Ocean thing, but they were never fully realized.
You see so many and I know you kind of like this. Like there's so many fan fictions kind of delving into the Dark Ocean aspect of the world,
Yeah,
trying to do things a lot with it, but I don't think it was particularly needed like at all. I
no.
kind of wish it had just been forgotten.
But like the Dark Towers are somehow related to the Dark Ocean, but we never found out what the Dark Towers do per se. Kenny's using them as transmitters, but that's because he dunked his Digivice in the Dark Ocean when he was younger,
Mm-hmm.
and that happened, and so he can use it to control Digimon and block evolution.
Mm-hmm.
But once Ken has changed sides.
Mm-hmm.
Aokemon and Momemon are still setting up Dark Towers.
Mm-hmm.
But why?
Again, there's so much problems with it. We don't know why. Like there's like no even point, not even a point asking. We just don't know. We weren't given the slightest hint. They just do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess well, I see what else to say before we go into the second part, which is probably the Mummimon and which we're
Yeah,
calling.
Agumon.
Um, let's see. I would say the introduction of the characters, Demimon, Vmon, and his line as a whole is really cute and
Yeah,
awesome.
they're really cute aesthetically, but
Mm-hmm.
well, the thing is, like, Daisuke is the new Gogglehead, right? And
And he, just to say, is probably the second weakest Gogglehead out of them all. To be
who's
fair,
after him?
who do you think?
Uh, okay, I suppose, yeah.
Um, which is a little sad because the Goggleheads are really supposed to be kind of like the antithesis for their group, for the
Yeah.
series. And to see both sequel Goggleheads fail really bad
Yeah.
is really disappointing.
It's like,
Because their Digimon are both their Digimon are really cool.
hmm
Um, well, I mean, even their Digimon's personalities aren't the best.
well, not the
Again,
best because you've got Daisuke, right? And he is, like, he's simple-minded. He doesn't have any depth. We'll get into that later.
Kari, I love you. That's all
Well,
he.
that, um, when he was flirting with Hikari, I asked someone who'd already seen it, and I'm like, please tell me this is just played for laughs and doesn't go anywhere.
No,
It's like,
it's not played for laughs at all.
well, it doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't go anywhere, but he tries really fucking hard.
But he's an idiot. Like, he is not smart at all. His personality is almost the same as Tai Chi, but he doesn't have Tai Chi's clever streak.
He doesn't have
Mhm.
the charisma.
Yeah, and Vmon has the exact same personality as Daisuke. His voice is just raised to a slightly higher pitch. So they're
Davis.
basically the same person, even though most Digimon's personalities complement their trainers. Now, do you remember when I don't remember the context, but there was the Digimental of Friendship for like,
For Daisuke
it
Davis,
was for
yeah.
Daisuke for Dramon, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to pick it up because I always let my friends down." Blah blah blah.
Oh yeah.
That is not who Daisuke is.
No. Didn't Matt have to give him a fucking pep talk?
Yeah, but the thing is, that's not who Daisuke is. That's the only time in the series he was ever out of character.
Mm-hmm.
Because he would have just gone for it. Now, in
Mine.
fact, while we're on the subject of Daisuke, do you remember the end of the series?
Yeah.
Like, not the end, but
Oh.
the final episode,
Mm-hmm.
where Bel Vamdemon, whatever he was, his
Mm-hmm.
ability was mind illusion, where he trapped all of the characters
Yeah, in those weird rainbow
in
bubbles.
that filled their deepest desire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they all had one. Like, Iori wanted his dad back, which was justifiable. Taku wanted his family to be back together.
Mm-hmm.
Hikari wanted a world where everyone had Digimon. Miyako wanted to be an only child so she could have all the food, which was a bit weird.
Well, I maybe the food thing was weird, but maybe so she could have more attention because she comes from this like humongous family, right? Where she doesn't particularly stand out, right?
But do you remember what Daisuke's desire was?
No, I
He
don't.
didn't have one. All he wanted in that moment was to defeat Vandemon. So they actually used Daisuke's lack of depth to defeat the final boss.
My mind is so empty that we win.
Yeah. But Daisuke, like, all he wants is to defeat the enemy that's in front of him. He doesn't have any hidden depth like the rest of the characters. He doesn't have any desires. So he just used his shallowness to defeat the final boss, which I have to give them credit. It was clever, but it just highlights how much of an idiot Daisuke is.
They didn't really need to highlight that either.
No. And but yeah, so Daisuke's not interesting. Then there's Miyako, who's
She's funny.
she's funny. She's kind of a combination of Koshiro and Sora, I guess.
She was supposed to be. She was supposed to be kind of like Mimi, really, though, because of her weird obsession with bringing crap to the group.
Yeah.
Mimi always had that too, but she would bring like useless crap, like little bits and like baubles and things like that to show off to them. But I don't remember if it was in the first part or in the Mummy Mon where actually her and Mimi have like a moment and they talk to each other. I think
Yeah.
that was also really really nice.
And then like she imagined her and Mimi in really pretty dresses surrounded by rose petals about to kiss.
What? Oh, that was. Were they about to kiss?
Yeah.
Well, I meant the
That-
nice moment, not including that, because that's just awkward.
It was in Miyako's fantasy.
Mm.
So that was a bit weird. But yeah, she and Mimi had a moment there. It was quite early in the series. And then there
I,
was Iori, who I don't really know what Iori's deal was. He was quiet, he didn't talk much.
his deal is that he's so quiet, so small. He
Yeah.
feels like he can't really do anything for people.
Hmm.
And like that was supposed to be his whole deal. I think Joe did it better, where he felt like he couldn't contribute anything to the group, even though he's actually really smart. Um, I think just Joe just did it better. On like honestly, as the kind of character he is, I think Joe just did it better.
Hmm.
And if you want to say, well, what about the nerdiness that he's also supposed to kind of represent Izzy or Krishiro, right? I like
Well,
his English name too.
Iori wasn't that nerdy, really.
Nah, no, he wasn't. Well, I mean, they mentioned like as a passing thing that that sometimes he would do the computer stuff, but
Miyako did the computer stuff mainly.
did she?
Yeah, Miyako was
Well,
quite
I thought
computer.
they mentioned him doing something like that too,
He
because
did kendo was his main thing.
yeah, but the thing is, his crests were knowledge and faith, right? It
Knowledge
was
and reliability.
yeah, reliability, the
Yeah.
cross, um,
I think
because
Miyako's
Miyako's
was
was
also
love
faith.
and
No,
serenity.
Hikari's was faith.
Yeah,
Because that was
Miyako's
her.
is love and serenity. It's Mimi's and Sora's.
Yeah,
Since
Hikari's was faith.
Hikari's was always faith, she didn't switch.
Hmm.
And then Takero's is a light, right? The sun thing, the yellow sun.
Taku's was what was Taku's? It wasn't faith. It
It was
wasn't.
light.
No, Hikari's was light in the dub, and it was faith in the Japanese version.
I thought hers was supposed to be hope.
Taku's was hope.
Oh, Taku's. I thought Hikaru's was hope. I always thought it
Taku and
was hope.
Hikari were hope and faith.
Mm. Okay, well, yeah. Either way, so those has the two things that they represent. Oh,
And then,
that was also another kind of a thing that was a little kind of dividing for people, that each person actually represented two of the previous people. But didn't particularly give us two people's worth of like enjoyability. Like,
but having a smaller cast lets you focus better.
yeah, well, but they still weren't particularly great characters. Is the problem. Even if they, even if they had a smaller cast, if that cast isn't particularly nice, there's
So then
still not
the
gonna work.
the other new character in the series is Ken, who is my absolute favorite character in Zero Two.
Oh well, Ken is what made the show watchable for
Yeah,
the most part.
without Ken, I would just say skip it entirely.
Ken and
Um,
Wormmon's so cute.
Wilmon is so cute. My favorite episode of Zero Two is the one shortly after Ken has been defeated, and he's lying in bed with a fever, burning off all the evil, and you get his whole backstory.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, that's how you get. That's what happens when you go from good to evil. You get a fever and you have to basically
Yeah,
kind of be passed out in bed for a week.
Zuko did it in Avatar, and then he didn't even turn. Spoiler alert.
Mm.
But yeah, that is a trope. But yeah, you find out his whole backstory about how his brother died and about he was so depressed it somehow opened a portal to the Dark Ocean.
His brother was also a super genius, right? Or some kind of really good athlete, something like that. He was also supposed to be like a really, really like
Yeah.
amazing kid,
hmm
and he
And Ken
died.
tried to live up to that, and that's how he got the Dark Seed or something.
Hmm. That
hmm
sounds dirty.
Yeah, it does.
um. So that's all the characters. So let's move on to the well, and just as a passing way to say it, all the old characters show up at one point or another.
Yeah.
Um.
They're not focused on, but they do show up. So here's another thing to go over. At one point in the in 02, Koshiro says he says basically, us from the first series, we can't evolve to perfect anymore because we needed the tags and crests to
Yeah.
evolve to perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some distortion going on in the digital world, so Genai called us all back,
Mm-hmm.
contradicting the thing it said at the beginning of the season when no one's been to the digital world. So then
Mm-hmm.
we had to give up our tags and crests to restore the shield, which I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't mind, but in the first series, in the final episodes,
Mm-hmm.
Apoclymon destroyed their tags and crests, and
Mm-hmm.
then they realized that they didn't need the crests to get their virtues to evolve the Digimon because the virtues were inside them all along. And sure,
Mm.
that's cheesy and saccharine,
Yeah.
but it directly contradicts that thing in 02.
I did he really destroy them? I know he took them away. Did he
No,
did he destroy
Apoclymon
them?
destroyed them.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, there's a lot of continuity issues, and we're gonna get to the biggest continuity issue at the end, which a lot of people really don't like.
Yeah.
But going on to the Mummymon and
Yeah.
Arachnimon arc. Arakudimon,
So,
right?
Arakenimon or
Okay.
Arachnimon, it doesn't really matter.
Mm.
So, in the second arc, after Ken's defeated, they're going into the digital world to help rebuild it and destroy and take down the rest of the Dark Towers. And two Digimon show up called Arachnimon and Momimon, and they can transform Dark Towers into evil Digimon. Now, I'm going to say Arachnimon and Momimon. These two are goddamn hilarious.
When playing off each other.
When playing off each other, they play off each other really well, and it's really funny. On their own, they're not so much, but they are funny. So in this arc, they're just doing Dark Towers and destroying them. But then Arakenimon gets 100 Dark Towers and puts them together into an ultimate level Digimon called Black War Greymon.
Mega level.
It's ultimate in Japanese.
Oh, wow. Mega for English peoples.
Yes.
Um,
And so then she sends Black War Greymon to destroy the Holy Stones. And we never find out what the Holy Stones actually do.
weren't they supposed to be kind of placeholders for like the God Digimon thingies?
Oh no, because the God Digimon from Tamers actually did make an appearance in 02.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that. So a large segment of that was, well, first of all, there was a bunch of filler when they were going and destroying the Dark Towers. But when Black War Greymon showed up, he went to destroy the Holy Stones, and there was a lot of time with just Black War Greymon alone, monologuing in an angsty fashion
But
about.
just to say, Black War Greymon too sexy, no homo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Black War Greymon was monologuing about the nature of a soul, and then they just try and destroy the Holy Stones. And not a lot happened here. During this arc, the new Digidestined Chosen Children, whatever, did learn to evolve their Digimon to adult level normally, and then eventually learn to progress their Digimon to perfect level by combining them.
Mm-hmm. Well, which is kind of, well, at least I refer to it as the way they refer to it in the game, called DNA digivolving, fusing
Yeah.
together.
Well,
Yeah.
that was in the English version too.
Yeah.
So they've got that, and then this all culminated in Blackwell Gamon was going to destroy the last Holy Stone, which was in a lake full of soup for some reason.
Nom 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 nom.
Yes. Oh, and this is the episode with the infamous 3-minute chain of evolution sequences.
Must have all the sequences.
Yes.
Uh,
Which didn't go anywhere. But then he was basically going to destroy the last Holy Stone, and then he didn't for some reason, and Kinlong Mon from Tamus showed up and told him not to or something. I don't really remember how it went, but then they just completely forgot about the entire Holy Stone thing.
mm.
And that's pretty much the second arc. Nothing much happens. It's just Erecnimon, Mummymon, Black War Greymon, Dark Towers, Holy Stones, and New Evolution. It hardly even has a beginning, middle, and end.
I thought he ended up destroying the last stone, or somehow it got destroyed.
No, he didn't destroy the last stone, so we never found out what would happen if they destroyed all the stones.
I would assume that the world would just somehow fall apart or start like superstorm here, tear apart the land. And...
If I had to guess, I would
wait. But we kind of saw instances, right? Every time they destroyed one, some shit happened.
Yeah.
So just imagine that happening everywhere in the digital world all at once.
Okay, here's my theory. It could be completely crap. I'm just pulling this right out of my ass, right?
Fresh out of the ass.
Pulling it out my ass. So if we look at Oikawa in the third arc, he wants to get to the digital world, right? So maybe the Holy Stones are keeping the human world and the digital world apart, and by destroying them, it'll combine them. And that's why he sent Reacnimon and Momimon to do it. And that's why they sent Black War Greymon to do it. And that is all.
But to kind of make that work, to make that work, that means something had to have created that world at a later time, that it never existed since the Earth, since the human world existed. Because the reason why, and again, they had this kind of thought process in Adventure 1, was that they're literally in the same spot, just in different dimensions. They're in the same spot. They've always existed forever. They've just been separated.
And then the network connects them.
Yeah.
I mean, the digital world is not the internet, and that has been a thing in every single series.
That's kind of a misunderstanding. It's not meant to be the internet.
Yeah, the digital world has never been the internet, but it's been like...
To reference the movie, they traveled through the internet in the movie, and that's not the digital world.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When they're fighting, what's his name, Inframon, and all that.
Yeah.
They show that is not that's the internet, and then that's not the digital world.
Yeah.
If you want to take that as canon to the show, but yes.
Which, yeah, I would say that's canon to the show. But yeah, so have you got any thoughts on the second arc of
I'm disappointed how Mummymon and whatchamacallit died.
That wasn't until the end. That wasn't until the third arc there.
Yeah. I thought they died pretty soon before the last stone.
No, they died at the very end of the show.
They died at the very end of the show? I thought they died in the stone arc.
No, they were in the third arc.
Well, either way, I'm disappointed on how they die afterwards, because they're just kind of killed off as normal villains, even though they stood there for a long time. Say about the second arc, Black War Greymon just too good.
Yeah, Black War Greymon was good, even if he was a bit emo.
He was emo, but he was like Ken to the extreme kind of emo, where he kind of wanted to commit suicide, but at the same time he wanted to kill everything, but he didn't really want to kill everything because he knew that he understood that pain is bad.
Mm-hmm.
It was so weird but sweet.
Yeah, it was the first time when Ken's character really shone through, and it had him being a nice guy. And then it had the whole thing with the Crest of Kindness, which I don't even want to get into because it made no sense.
Mm.
And but yeah, the basically not a lot happens in the second arc. You could skip most of it and be fine to move on to the third.
Just watch the last couple episodes of that arc. There you go. And then the third arc, just to move on to that one.
Okay. The third arc. Okay, the third arc begins at the Christmas special, right?
No, just skip the Christmas special. We don't need to worry about the Christmas special.
If we have to do the ending, we have to do the Christmas special.
Aww.
Well, the Christmas special is made up of a four-parter. And the first one is just all the Digimon come back to the digital world to spend Christmas with their partners. And it's cute and it's nice. But then they're doing that, and then Dark Towers start appearing in the human world for some reason.
For reasons.
Yes, for reasons. Then Genai appears again for reasons. Also, he's about 100 years younger than he was in Adventure 1.
Yes, whatchamacallit was gonna say, you know, I'm seemingly this all-knowing sage that cannot leave the digital world. Oh, I'm just gonna pop into the human world real quick.
Yeah, and I'm young now.
So, yeah. I took some nice aging cream.
Yeah. And he gives Paladramon, who is Daisuke and Ken's Digimon combined, he gives him the ability to evolve to Ultimate. And he gives all of the Digimon from the first series the ability to evolve to Perfect and Ultimate if they could already. Which, by all rights, they should already have at this point, but I don't care about that.
That was also kind of an issue we didn't go over in Adventure, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so then they went in Imperial Dramon, and then they flew all around the world, and they dropped one person from the new series and one person off from the old series off in different locations around the world, and then for 3 episodes, each episode had 2 10-minute segments of, you know, of 2 people destroying a dark tower in some location in the digital world, in the real world, Australia, South America, whatever.
One was in Russia, which I thought was funny.
And some of them were kind of funny, and like some of them were okay, but it didn't go anywhere. There was no point in having it. They wasted 3 whole episodes to it, and it might just be the worst thing in any Digimon series.
Well, I mean, it was a Christmas special. Specials like that are usually pretty bad. As a general rule, they're pretty bad. I don't really have much to say on that one at all, unless you want to say something else.
Yes, another thing is they meet a lot of people with Digimon in other countries. And, well, it's like revealed, it was clear that people in other countries had Digimon before. The question was like, why?
Because they didn't want to look racist.
I guess. But then that was a whole lot of nothing. And so they just go back to Tokyo and act like it never happened.
Bye, rest of the world. You'll never be as cool as Japan.
And so then the rest of the series is we found out that Arachnimon and Momimon were created by someone called Oikawa, who was friends with Iori's father. And they kind of knew about Digimon when they were kids, but they didn't want to go to the digital world. They wanted to go to the digital world, but they never could. So he created them, and he was trying to find a way into the digital world.
Oh, I guess I should have said that too. Arachnimon has like a really cool Carmen Sandiego kind of look going on with her.
Yeah,
with her
she
suit.
does.
That was kind of neat.
So then Arachnimon, Momimon, Black War Greymon are in the real world, and Oikawa is... So we don't know it at this point, but he's under the control of Vamdemon from the first series because he didn't really die because lazy writing. And he's putting dark seeds into kids, which feeds on their negative emotions. Which
That's totally not sexual at all.
Totally not sexual. And that's what made Ken the way he was. And so he was doing that to get power for Vamdemon. And meanwhile, Black War Greymon was wrecking shit up in the real world, and War Greymon fought with him, and that didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, because we just have too many feels for Black War Greymon. We don't want to see him die.
Then at the same time as this, um, Demon or Damon, whatever,
Marcus
came
Damon.
from the Dark Ocean and started wrecking shit up, so they had to defeat him as well, and that didn't go anywhere.
Ray.
Um, and then once all that was over, Oikawa, using the power of the children, he went to. Okay, this is what I think might be the worst thing in Zero Two. Remember the other day I said when they went back to the human world through the gate, they put in the cards, and again I didn't tell them the answer.
Yeah,
They had
because
two
Jedi's a troll.
cards. Yeah, they had one extra card, so they worked out where they all could be, and they had an Agumon card and a Gomamon card.
Yeah, and the Gomamon card was the right answer. And
The Gomamon card was the right answer.
Mm-hmm.
So when Oikawa was going to the digital world, he used the same spell that they used there, but they didn't go to the digital world, and so he must have put in the Agumon card or something. So it brought them to a buffer dimension between the digital and the real world,
Spooky.
which absorbs children's wishes from the real world and manifests them in the digital world. So the digital world is made of children's wishes. And in this dimension, things that are intangible can become tangible, and desire can create reality. And because of that, they used. They could fight Vandemon with all the Digimon at once. Arachnemon and Mummimon get killed off at this point because why not?
Because why not?
And then the thing that I said earlier about Neo Vandemon, no, that was Cross Horse, whatever. Vandemon trapping them in the mind illusion, and then they get out because of Daisuke's shallowness. And then,
well, not really shallowness, just mindlessness.
yeah. And then, what happened then? All the children that had the dark seeds that he was taking the power from were there. And when Neo Vandemon broke into the digital world from the Wish Dimension and was going to make the human world crash into the digital world. So then they started motivating the children that he was drawing the power from and made them not depressed. And then once they were happy, he lost his power.
Yep.
And also all of the people from the real world came to the digital world. They were drawn there by their Digimon somehow. Doesn't really matter how. And then Oikawa died. And him dying brought life back to the digital world after Vandemon had fucked it up for some reason.
Ta-da!
And that's the end of the series.
Yay! Well, it's not the final episode, but yay! So, that's what happened. Doesn't it sound great?
Not where it really ended, though.
Yeah, so I will go into the next part of that. When you come from, if you watched Adventure 1, and obviously there was some hinting at romance or hinting at, what these...
Matt and Sora weren't a thing in the Japanese version.
If you were paying attention and looking at things, these kids had aspirations, they had thought, and hopes to do things. Though when we get to try, kind of the sexual tension thing, which is really funny, which I think is just funny, at least, which they like to play up and try a good bit, whether they mean to or not. But there was meant to be some romances and stuff going on there, and things like that. So we come to the final episode of 02, the very last episode, where we basically get the epilogue.
The epilogue was only 2 minutes after the end. It was only 2 minutes at the end of the final episode. It wasn't like a Full Metal Alchemist thing where they spent a whole episode
I know, but still. The main thing is those final 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Um, so with those final 2 minutes after the world has been saved, and another issue to bring up, especially with the movies that come afterwards, because as far as I know, those are supposed to be considered canon. Do people really know? And this is another huge thing that's kind of a big issue throughout the Digimon show as a whole. Do people really know there's Digimon? Do people not know there's Digimon? Do they fucking
This is
forget?
something
Or
that Zero Two brought up that I didn't mention was ever since the Diablomon incident 3 years before, the government had been researching Digimon, but Genai was hacking into their network and sabotaging it because he didn't want them to know. But the thing is, they were hiding the Digimon at the beginning of Zero Two when they were always trying to hide the Digimon throughout the series. But the Vamdemon arc of Adventure happened and our war game happened. And those two things combined, the whole world already knows about Digimon, which they kind of glossed over in Zero Two.
But yeah, but then going back to the final 2 minutes of that whole, basically all of both adventure shows, we see people get married to
The
people.
only ones who actually did were Ken and Miyako.
Yeah, we see Marco get married. We see people that we thought should have gotten married not get married, or not do what we expected them to do. Personally, even though we don't particularly care for him, I think Daisuke got the short end of the stick. They show him fucking being a noodle cart driver, right?
No, actually, they showed him starting off as a noodle cart driver, then building an international multi-billion-dollar franchise from that. I thought it would have been better if everyone was really successful and really famous. And I thought it would have been better if Daisuke just was a noodle cart driver.
Well, Matt becomes kind of like an okay rock star kind of guy, right?
He becomes an astronaut.
He becomes an astronaut.
I mean, if he would have been a rock star, I wouldn't have complained about that. But he never showed the slightest interest in science.
No, you have to have degrees and shit too. A lot of them actually to be an astronaut.
You need to have degrees, and you need to be a pilot, and he never showed any interest in that.
And then Sora is just stuck at home, right?
No, Sora was a fashion designer, and she had a whole character arc in the first series about how her mother wanted her to be a fashion designer, but she wanted to do sports.
Oh yeah.
But she ended up as a fashion designer anyway.
And Taichi becomes a diplomat, right?
Taichi becomes an ambassador to the digital world, which again doesn't seem like something Taichi would.
What does Mimi do? Did she become a movie star?
I
thought she was the fashion one.
No, I think she became a movie star, or I think she became a singer or something. I don't know.
And then, Izzy becomes well off, right? He has a tech firm or something.
He is the head of digital world research for the government.
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
Yeah. I don't remember what's his name did, the little quiet boy.
What did he do? He became a lawyer. Which
does Joe become a teacher?
Joe becomes a doctor. Hikari becomes a teacher.
Hikari becomes a teacher.
Well, obviously Joe becomes a doctor.
With all the studying he does, and they make a huge point of it in the movies.
They made a point of it in Adventure 1. It's I thought that was pretty interesting. It's his parents really want him to become a doctor, and he's not sure.
That's kind of a cliche for Asian people, though.
But they broke the cliche because the cliche is, oh, my parents really want me to become a doctor, but I don't. But Joe, his parents wanted him to become a doctor, and he did. He decided that, he did want to become a doctor. He did want what his parents wanted for him.
And then, what about Takeru? I can't remember Takeru at all, either.
This was the worst. Takeru became an author. He wrote the stories of their adventures in the digital world, and it turns out he was the narrator the whole time.
Yeah, we were reading the books the whole time. We got tricked into reading. We got tricked into reading somehow. What about Ken and whatchamacallit got married.
Ken and Miyako got married. Ken became a
Though,
detective. Miyako was a stay-at-home
but
mom.
still, the weird sexual tension thing. I still say it was a weird sexual tension thing with a lot of the characters. A lot of the
There
time.
was a lot of characters had chemistry, but the weird thing is, like Ken and Miyako.
No, that was nowhere. That came out of nowhere. I mean, she liked him, right? A little bit, but
Not really. But like the thing about the Jogres evolution is they needed chemistry to pull that off. That was how it worked. Like Daisuke and Ken had great chemistry, and so did Hikari and Miyako. Chakru and Iori didn't. Remember the time they first Jogressed?
which
It
was
was the one with the lake of soup, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we should Jogress, I guess." And, yeah, okay. And then they did it, and Shakomon was a thing.
People like to fuck around with that, though. I thought that's the one you were talking about. I didn't know for sure.
Which one?
People don't like that Shakomon.
No, they don't. I don't like it.
Oh, but he appeared in the Crosswords too. By the way, he was actually kind of an important character in one of the in 2 of the episodes.
He was normal sized as well.
But yes, he was also normal sized. He was not fucking gigantic.
I didn't mind him as much then, but in 02 it was just ridiculous.
And I think that's it. So that we covered everyone. But literally, for the fan base as a whole, they hate that ending so much.
They do.
They hate it so much. Personally, I hate most of it too. But otherwise, I could care less because really, as long as the other 99.99% of the rest of the show was good, I think I could give two rat's ass about it. Oh, and then no. There's the children thing at the end where we see their children with new Digimon.
Yeah, going on adventures as well. Here's something that we didn't mention. It said that as of like 10, 15 years after the series, everyone in the world now has a Digimon, and like Savers showed us why that wouldn't work.
Yeah, we well, even before that, we knew why that couldn't work because there are evil people. There's an evil person that kind of, instigates the ending of fucking 02, right?
Also, it mentioned, and there were never any evil in the digital world again after that.
That's bullshit.
It is bullshit because, like, even if they wanted to do a sequel, that would lock them out. So I think they're just going to ignore that 2-minute ending.
When we get to try, we'll talk about that a little bit too. But just know that the ending and a lot of the build up in 02 was extremely poorly received, and when it was looked back over by the people that make the show, they also agreed that we could have done this a lot better.
One of the main writers on 02, the guy who wrote the Dark Ocean stuff, the guy who wrote all that, it was like when he got hired as like the head writer for Tamus, he's like, right, I'm gonna make Tamus what I was trying to get across in 02 and I couldn't.
Make it really fucking scary.
Yeah. So he's going to be like, this is trying to go for, please understand.
Jerry with her fucking exorcist moment. When they're in the train. It's funny.
That Tamers turned out as good as it did after 02.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's basically 02 in a nutshell. As far as, episode and some serious minuscule plot things. We talked about the biggest issue plot-wise, but there are some other small things that we could have talked about. If you remember a lot of the episodes.
A lot went wrong in 02.
Mm-hmm. So, that's 02. Again, I wouldn't say that you shouldn't watch it. If anyone's ever listening to this later, I don't think you shouldn't watch it. It's interesting. Black or Greymon was an excellent introduction. Again, Mummymon and Arcunimon are really funny.
I would say there is just enough good in 02 to justify checking it out. If you don't like it, you could always move on to Tamus. But when I first watched it, I kind of... I didn't really think about it that much. I obviously didn't enjoy it as much as Adventure, but I kind of liked it when I first watched it, and it was only when I started to really think about it that it fell apart for
Yeah.
me.
Okay. So if you're gonna watch it, don't think about it.
Yeah.
Don't even. As soon as you hear us, skip to this part in the video, and I'll say, if you went here, do not watch this because
Yeah.
you will not want to watch the show.
You won't.
You will not want to watch the show.
There is enough good in Zero Two that just as at least watching it through once. I don't think I'd ever watch through the whole thing again. Maybe just the highlights.
I
But
was for a little while. I was starting to watch through it again, but then I got bored and I had to do school stuff. um, but so yeah, so that's O2. Watch it if you want to. If you don't, and if you don't like it by about halfway, don't finish it.
yeah,
Just skip it. Um, so that's it for that. And in the next part, if we have time right now, I don't know if Liara has time right now. If we do though, we'll be talking about. We'll be heading into.
Yeah.
We're heading into Frontier, which honestly is probably the oddest out of all the series. Not the worst, definitely the oddest. So we're gonna stop for right now.